Welcome to our new OpenHBI course, Confidential Communication in the Internet. In this course, we want to discuss the question how Internet communication can be organized in such a way that the content we transport over the Internet remains confidential. Because the Internet is an open network, so it is insecure, it is unsafe communication. And let's start with an example about that. A year ago, there was a leak from G0D, the criminal advent calendar. It was published in December 2018. And in that leak, hackers published confidential data of celebrities, of politicians, of famous actors, musicians, and they did it via Twitter. And what they were able to publish is to publish data that includes very personal information. So lists of mobile phone numbers, list of home addresses, personal address directories, email list, Facebook chats, copies of ID cards, photo scan. It was a shock. It was a shock for all the public people, and the politicians are startled. How could this happen? How was it possible that some unauthorized hacker got access to such very personal data? And the problem, it was analyzed, the problem which was found out was that there were no awareness of the problem of Internet security. There were no awareness of the need of data security as cornerstone of our digital society. The people used it without thinking that it is important to secure the data, so that's not easy to get this data in unauthorized hands, and it's also not easy to read and understand the data. So the politics came up and created a framework of conditions. There were data protection laws and others, but the individual people, they must follow these regulations. They must inform himself and take measures, him or herself. And this is very important, and this is what we want to reach in this course, that we want to offer an intro into the confidential communication in the Internet. What needs to be done to make the data which I send over the open Internet to secure it in such a way that no one else, unauthorized person, is able to get access to understand what's going on. There are many such spectacular hacker attacks. Here, an attack, the so-called SEO fraud, because it's the hacker sent falsified mails. The sender seems to be the CEO of the company and sends to the people, and then the CEO told them to do that. But in reality, it's a hacker which sends an email that has the sender address of the CEO. There were some big cases. For example, in 2018, in German, Karlsruhe Regional Court decided that the Sparkasse, a German bank, is liable for the transfer of about 1.7 million euro, which was sent by an accountant that which was executed by an accountant after he got a fake message from his boss. Or in August 2016, some similar incidents. The Chinese-Austrian aircraft component manufacturer, the FACC AG, loses 50 million euros on the basis of such a SEO fraud. Or the Bavarian automotive supplier Leoni loses 40 million euros. You see, it's really important, and the reason is that it's easy to manipulate mails which are sent in clear text. It is easy to change the sender address. This is of some shortage of the internet protocols. So what we want to discuss in this course is that with the use of cryptographic means, such cases, so-called digital signatures, in this case of the mentioned Theofraude, by means of so-called digital signatures, this is one of the cryptographic means, such hacking attacks could have been avoided. Generally, the digital transformation that is characterized by the omnipresence of the Internet and the World Wide Web. In all what we're doing, the digital technologies, Internet services, World Wide Web services play an important role and change our world, change our behavior in the private life, change our business life, change our social life. And so we have to understand how Internet and World Wide Web is working, and not only here to the promises of this new global communication technology. And this promises say almost cost-free, and worldwide communication is possible within the Internet, or media without borders. All information are available everywhere and anytime. Even the democratic access is discussed and is seen as something good which is brought by the Internet and the new digital technologies. But Internet and World Wide Web also offer entrance gates for multiple threats. I mentioned already some of these hack attacks. So there are very different reasons which help the hackers and which provide the possibility of such threats in the digital world. There is faulty software, faulty hardware. Network is not working correctly. There are inadequate internet protocols. I just mentioned that it's so easy to manipulate the sender address is a reason that there are in the IP protocol, there are no authentication features to prevent this. There are malware like computer viruses, worms or Trojans, which provide attackers the possibility to receive unauthorized information or to interact with the system of the victim or with his or her data. Incorrect operations, by being lazy or by doing not understand what to do, installing something in the wrong way or have a wrong configuration. So in many cases, careless users are the reason that there is so multiple threats in the Internet. Unauthorized users, hackers, attackers, cybercriminals, they try and use digital means to break into computer systems of the users, to break into computer systems of a company, reading information and find out some details about some developments in a company or in a discussion in another state, to espionage these things, to falsification of message, to manipulate sender address we already discussed, manipulate the content, or the misdirection of emails. This is only a small list. I could add many more, which shows that this new technology, the Internet and the World Wide Web, offer a lot of new multiple threats. And the more our life is using these new digital technologies, the more we should be aware about the threats, and we should think about how we can secure us. And what is clear, the threats rise, the more all parts of our world are interconnected by the Internet. Then even in the past, some criminal has to physically break into a flat or in the company's office. But today, this is possible via the Internet. So the information transmission in the internet is endangered in many ways. So a central point is confidentiality. Confidentiality of the messages is when we transport a message, email or another data through the internet is not secured. Internet is an open net as long as we do not take measures to prevent this. So data packages, which this is a typical way that information are communicated in the internet, they contain the message or a part of the message, and when they are transported through the internet, they are transported from one network to another network. You remember, internet is a network of networks, and these different networks are connected by routers. And who has access to this router? Who has access to all the data that are transported via this router and has the chance to manipulate this? It is possible to manipulate the sender name or its address. It can be thought it's possible to manipulate the content of the message. Message can be uploaded with hidden malware to do some wrong activities on the receiver sides, and much more dangerous and threaten the communication in the internet. So what we need are mechanisms to ensure information security and confidentiality in the internet. We have to think, what are the goals to secure, when securing our information, our internet traffic? And there are different such security goals which we have to be achieved to use the internet in a secure way. So we have to ensure the confidentiality of the messages. This is our main focus in this course. With this, one can prevent forgeries of the sender. One can uncover manipulation of messages. One can prevent the denial of online orders. These are securities, and we have to look for the measures we can use to reach these goals. And the most tools to reach the security goals in the internet come from cryptography. Cryptography and cryptographic methods, this is the science, an old science, for ensuring information security. It already is older than 2000 years. Also, the Romans used encrypted messages to secure the confidentiality. But by means of the new technology, the need for the methods from cryptography have very, very much increased. So with the help of these cryptographic methods, one can ensure the confidentiality of messages. One can detect forgery, one can detect manipulation of the content of the message, one can detect forgery of the sender of a message, and one can detect unfair behavior of an online purchaser. So these are only a few of the things, the few of the wanted security means we want to see guaranteed when we are using the internet. And cryptography is providing the tools to that. So here we see our sender, we have our receiver, and they are connected by the internet, and the sender wants to send a message to the receiver. Typically the sender is Alice and the receiver is Bob. And so Alice writes its message, and then she uses a cryptographic method, here a hash algorithm, and then she is using an encryption method, and then the message is signed and encrypted. And it is sent via the internet to Bob, and Bob now is the only one who can understand the message, because the encryption method, the key that is needed to encrypt this message, only these two are knowing. And by means of the hash algorithm, we can also the signature mechanism introduce. We have to discuss this in much more detail, and this is what we want to do in our course. So in the Open HPI course, it runs over 2 weeks. First week is January the 13th to January the 19th. And in this first week, which is starting now, we introduce to the topic, we will discuss threats, we will discuss security goals that need to be guaranteed, and then we introduce cryptographic methods. There are 2 groups of cryptographic methods, symmetric cryptography and methods of the asymmetric cryptography. And to better understand this, how it's organized, we also discuss some famous examples from the internet, the DES encryption, the AES encryption hash function, RSA, and then we round up this discussion by discussing cryptographic protocols and attacks. And then in the next week, starting January 20th to January 26th, then we will discuss in more details crypto protocol, which is used for encryption, which is used to guarantee the confidentiality. Then we will discuss the crypto protocol digital signature, which is which is used to guarantee the integrity of information that are sent over the internet. And then we discuss public key infrastructures and trust center that are needed, for example, when you want to do online banking. It happens in the back, so typically you are not aware of such kind of technology that runs in the back, and this technology is based on the usage of digital certificates. And then we will finish our week by introducing PGP. PGP is a tool set which helps to secure the email traffic. There are some literature if you are interested in more details. Of course, in our course we can only introduce the things. There is the book by Harald Sack and me, Digital Communication, which was published in the Springer book. There is a lot of material available that can be read for deepen. And this digital communication is the first volume of a trilogy of Harald and me, which is going about internet working and web technology. So it describes what we are discussing in the course. My name is Christoph Meinl. I'm the Institute Director and the Dean of the Hasso-Plattner Institute. I have a chair about Internet technologies and system, and the co-worker and the researcher and PhD students of the chair support me in preparing the courses, in running the courses. And in our research, we are focusing on security engineering. For example, such technologies like that will be presented here in the course, but also digital education is something that's very interesting for me, and the OpenHPI system and the partner systems were developed in my chair. So digital education is an important point. Also in Germany, the HPI Schulcloud is a project of us. And then this course, you remember, we will offer 3 2 weeks course to different aspects of internet security. And this course about confidential communication is supported by Daniel Köhler and by Ali Al-Hosseini. And David is, both are PhD students. Daniel is working in security engineering, doing his research in network security, and Ali works on social media analytics and is involved in big data security projects about attack graphs. So we are happy to have you with us. We hope you will be interested in getting more information, more knowledge about confidential communication in the internet.